Happy lunch hour, guys. All right. We're going to get into something that's not hurricane related, not Nord Stream related or whatever, but something that all of us have to worry about anyway. Our money and what happens when it goes poof. Okay. It's getting worse and worse and worse. We think we all know it. All right. We're a step closer to utter total financial collapse today than we were yesterday, and we will get closer tomorrow. I'll give you this 30-year mortgage rates, yeah, they crossed 7% this morning. Remember 6 months ago when you get a mortgage under 3%? Yeah, now it's 7. Okay. The British bond market is completely falling apart. The Japanese market has totally been decimated. The Chinese real estate market is toast, okay? And please find me something good that's going on in the US market. Anything that the Fed is trying to do right now is not effective. They're a day late and a dollar short. I mean, it's very typical of how the government operates. They react to a problem after it's too late to fix it. There was something that we used to joke about in the brokerage industry when I was there. And I mean, I'll give you one example. Uh, Mutual funds, which everybody knows what mutual funds are. You've got them in your 401k, maybe you've got them in your personal investments or whatever it would be. There, there's always risk involved or whatever. And, you have buku mutual fund companies. I mean, Fidelity and Vanguard and MFS and Alliance and, God knows how many different ones are out there, right? But we all laughed when I was in the brokerage industry because when you hit the worst case scenario, that's when something new would come out. And I remember one specifically back 20 years ago was after 9/11, and you had the market crash. Okay, remember that. And all of a sudden, all these mutual fund companies came out with loss protection mutual funds, where if you held your mutual fund for at least, I think it was 5 years or 7 years, you were guaranteed to at least get your principal back. Okay, that was how they marketed these. And I mean, basically, all it meant was that they were taking some of the money and putting it in zero treasury bonds that had a guaranteed return on it that would offset any potential losses. Okay. So you were reducing your uh, exposure to stocks. So you're reducing your upside by reducing your downside. It will get way wonky if I get into trying to explain that. But when they introduced this, was at the bottom of the market. Of course, that's always the way it works. It's too late to fix the losses everybody's already taken. So now we'll come up with an idea to make sure they don't lose anything else when everything's going back up. All right. That's kind of what the Fed is doing right now. And it's like, oh, we're going to raise rates, we're going to raise rates, we're going to raise rates. Well, all they're doing and managing to do with that is making the problem worse. As much as they think it's making, this is how we're going to get inflation back to 2% and everything like that. We aren't going there, okay? Simple as that. As the interest rates keep going up, you start having problems. People have asked me about the housing market. Somebody asked in a live stream last night if I thought the housing market was going to crash. Yes, okay. People can't afford to buy houses. So the only thing that's possible to get the liquidity, the ability to buy and sell, okay, houses again, is if the prices come down. Okay, how far they have to come down? Do we have a crash? Defined crash for you guys the other day, more than 20%. Okay. We're probably already getting into a bear market in the housing industry in the United States. I mean, where prices are dropping, and once we get in the 10 to 20% range, we'll be in a bear market in the housing market. That's where we're going. Okay, but now you start to get into all these other scenarios of what's going to make your dollar go poof. All right, liquidity in the bond market. Okay, when there's no buyers, prices come down like anything else. You get that problem. All right, we don't even have to talk about China, Taiwan. What happens when we start seeing corporate bankruptcies, bank bankruptcies especially. Okay, remember the savings and loan crisis? Find a savings and loan. Remember, you go down to the street and you had your banks, your credit unions, and your savings and loans. Those don't exist anymore. Remember? Okay, yes, it can happen. Banks can go under. So can credit unions, just telling you, all right? Inflation is going to keep going up. Interest rates are going to keep going up, which is going to make your dollar, the spending power of your dollar, get less and less and less. We all know inflation's up 9% or whatever official numbers. I know there's always half a dozen comments. That's not the real inflation number. I'm just, stop. Okay. You didn't get a 9% pay raise to offset inflation, unless, of course, you're a congressional staffer, and then you got plenty. But so you have less money to spend, less spending power, which is what's talked about all the time. As the dollar continues to get more worthless and more worthless and more worthless and more worthless, okay, now we start getting into Weimar Republic, wheelbarrows worth of cash. I'm not worried about somebody stealing the cash. I'm worried about somebody stealing the wheelbarrow. That's the situation we find ourselves in. And so, again, it behooves everybody to use the spending power you have now to get something that is going to hold or increase in value. And no, that's not buying shares of General Motors, okay? It's certainly food. It's certainly weapons and ammunition. It's certainly power generators. It's certainly water storage. It's certainly gold and silver, okay? And again, the hierarchy of what you need to spend, and I've mentioned this many times to you too. You want to get your food, water, and shelter taken care of before you're buying anything else, okay? Those are basic necessities in life. You need all three to live. Then you start looking at your power, your weaponry. And once you have that started taken care of, then you can get into looking at precious metals. I've had many people ask me the question of, I want to buy gold and silver. And I tell everybody, go start looking at comparesilverprices.com and comparegoldprices.com. At least that's they're not the seller. That's just one place that'll tell you what each one of the separate mints is selling whatever for. You want to buy, Morgans or whatever it is, it'll tell you what the price is currently being asked for by each one of those mints. So it's just a simple place to start, so you're not flipping through 92 different pages. Go to your local coin shop, junk silver, things like this. These are things you want to start accumulating, guys. I mean, even if, you got your food taken care of. Hey, you know what? I've got 6 months of food. For my family, I'm good. Go get some junk silver. Go spend $100 on pre-1965 dimes and quarters, half dollars and silver dollars if you want to, but dimes and quarters probably best. Because you have something that will maintain and probably increase in value. I'm not going to say guaranteed. There's no guarantees in anything in life except death and taxes. And even taxes is now going to get questionable. Okay, but death is still guaranteed. But you need to have some way to protect your wealth, whatever it is. I mean, and your wealth could be, I have $100 in my savings account. That's still your wealth, okay? Get something to protect it, because A, you may wind up using that as a currency, but B, it's something that you can always trade back for whatever we come out the other side in. The last thing you want to do is have $10,000, $100,000, whatever it is, in the bank and find out the bank went bankrupt. Or as many of you guys ask me all the time, there's bail-ins, and I've discussed that before. Okay, and all of a sudden you can't get your money, or you have a whole bunch of paper that is good for kindling in a fireplace. That's it. Have something that's worthwhile. Make sure you have your food, your water, your shelter. I've said 1,000,000,000 times, pay off your house, okay? Do whatever you can to do that. That's priority for funds. That's an asset that not only should increase in value over the long term, okay, but it keeps you out of the rain too, okay? Just giving you that. I know this is going back to, gee, this is prepping 101 stuff. Pinball, why are you talking about this? Because in the last few months, there have been a whole lot of people that have all of a sudden awakened to, gee, maybe I need to do something. And they look for a roadmap too. And as much as a lot of us on this channel are very well-seasoned preppers, this is a channel for everybody. And there are newbies here, and I want them to understand, yes, you are just as important as the guy who's been doing this for 30 years, and we want to help you too. And I just am trying to impart some knowledge. So please, make sure you have your basic necessities taken care of, then start working on your luxuries, i.e. power, okay, and your security. But don't forget to somehow put some of your money into something that is going to be currency in the future when the paper currency, the fiat currency that the world uses, all collapses. Because we're seeing it happen real time here, guys. All right. Y'all know the story about the Bolivar, Venezuelan money. You can see what's going on with the euro, with the British pound. I mean, remember, the euro was 2-to-1 to the dollar just a few years ago. Now it's on par. It's collapsing. And, the yen is collapsing. The yuan is collapsing. Everybody says, oh, but the dollar is getting stronger. No, we're just not getting as weak as fast as all the other currencies are. So that's what makes it look like it's great for the sheep to go, the dollar's getting stronger. No, it's not falling as fast. Telling you how it really works, guys. But have something that you're going to be able to use for currency in the future. And for all those that say, oh, it's not important, you can't eat silver and gold, you are correct. But let me ask you this. When everybody else is at some little, let's just call it a swap meet in a post-SHTF situation, and they're all dealing in gold and silver, and say, that tomato cost you a pre-1965 dime, and you don't have any dimes, and you go, but I'll trade you this for it. And the guy goes, no, the price is a pre-1964 dime. It's no different than going into the store right now, guys. The store is not going to take a bullet to trade for something. They're going to want something that's going to have mass appeal as a currency. Precious metals, junk silver, silver rounds, that's going to be your currency. Could gold be there for big purchases? Yeah. Okay. But you're certainly not going to want to be carrying around grams of gold in your pocket. Way too easy to lose that. Silver's a little bit more useful. Just make sure to have your necessities taken care of. Take a look at what's going on in the rest of the world, guys. New or old, a reminder never hurts. Pinball out.